Welcome to Knicks Home Court with your host. My name is Greg Armstrong. This is episode number 70. You know, I wanted to see how the Knicks would bounce back and play against Utah, which is a tough team. They're not going to allow you to just beat them. You know, they may be limited offensively. They were missing Rudy Gobert. Their best defensive player, one of the best defensive player, either the best defensive player in the league or the second best defensive player in the league. And, they came out and did what a professional, well-coached team does. They played well. They played hard. But the truth is, they built up the 10-point lead because they were shooting threes. And every team that the Knicks play, they're going to try to shoot threes against the Knicks. And that's because the Knicks are a terrible three-point defensive team. And that's because the Knicks don't run teams off of the three-point line. But I'm noticing a little trend. Come the fourth quarter, it seems that they adopt that philosophy a little bit more. You see, the best way to defend the three-point shot is to not allow the players to shoot it. And the thing is, in the game against Cleveland, even in this game, I kept saying there were shots that Utah took, and there wasn't even a nick in the pitcher. That should never happen on the pro level. There wasn't even a nick in the pitcher. And that's what all the rotating does. Don't get me wrong, I like the rotations, but I realize, the best team, the best team in the NBA is still Golden State. But one thing they do is they switch. They switch everything. I wouldn't employ this kind of defense the entire game. It's nice to be able to go to this kind of defense. You need certain players to be able to play this kind of defense. That's why in the fourth quarter, they put KP at the center, and you got a lot of guys that can play multiple positions, and then they can begin to switch more. When you got a 6'5" point guard in Ntilikina, a 6'6" shooting guard in Tim Hardaway Jr. or a small forward, whichever wing player, another good defensive wing player in Courtney Lee, and you put Lance Thomas at the 4, or you could put Doug McDermott there. He's not a great defender, but he's fast enough at the 4 position to guard that position. Then you put Porzingis at the 5. That's a very agile defensive lineup, and they can switch. In a pinch, Ntilikina can guard a 2, a 3, because his arms are so long. And not for long. Like I said, these guys, a lot of these NBA players, the way they play, if they have to put it on the floor, it's over. They can't do anything. Just like Kyle O'Quinn. Anytime Kyle O'Quinn dribbles, I'm like, oh no, unless it's a layup. And a lot of these guys, you run them off the three-point line, they got nothing left for you. That's it. Nothing. Now, the better teams like Cleveland are able to still get their shots and still able to, like Kyle Korver's release is so quick. I mean, his release is super quick. He's been a sniper his whole career. I mean, his release is super quick. So, but not every team has a Kyle Korver. Not every team is the Golden State Warriors or the Houston Rockets. Like I said, we play the Houston Rockets coming up. I feel like that's probably going to be another 40-point loss because they are literally the worst matchup for the Knicks. They shoot a bunch of threes. They're not so. How you defend teams that love to shoot threes? You run them off the 3-point line. You stop their pick and roll, which another reason why you're seeing Frank Ntilikina in the fourth quarter, because he disrupts the offense at the point of attack. If you can't get into your offense, if you can't get into your flow, if you can't do that initial pick and roll that allows you to get penetration into the paint, if you can't do that, you're not going to get open 3-point shots. So Ntilikina literally takes away that option most of the time, having him on the court. So, and I want to go back to something. I want to talk about Ntilikina for a minute because I'm watching this game and I'm getting I was getting a little frustrated with him, but not in a negative way, not in a way I think he sucks or nothing like that. No. More of a Like, dude, you can do this kind of thing. Like, he passes up a lot of wide open shots. And what's gonna happen, and when it happened already with Utah. Teams are gonna. That's why he had no assists in last night's game, because teams will be like, wait a minute, why are we worrying about him scoring? The book on him is he doesn't want to shoot, so they're gonna back up and allow him to shoot. And if he starts hitting those shots, you'll see the assists come back. If he's not hitting those shots, teams are gonna just sag, and that's it. So you saw last night, he made an adjustment. He got Hornacek telling him in his ear to shoot. The teammates are telling him to shoot. Dude, you need to shoot. And another thing, and again, a lot of this stuff is rookie stuff. It's young players, nerves. He makes a lot of passes sometimes that he shouldn't make. Three things that I think he needs to work on. And some of them he's going to work on in the offseason. And some of them you're going to see correct during the season. One thing he does a lot is he picks up his dribble before he actually has a person to pass to. You should never pick up your dribble. I'm telling you, one thing I love about Clyde, you listen to Clyde knows what he's talking about. You never pick up your dribble until you're actually ready to either shoot or pass. You don't pick up. Matter of fact, you pass right out the dribble. You don't even pick it up ever. You need that threat of dribbling. Once you pick up the dribble, what does a defensive player do? He gets up on you. And now it's difficult for you to make the pass, or you get double teamed and you have to call a timeout. He picks up his dribble a little too much. And again, something he'll learn. That is a really correctable thing. That's not even a big deal. He just needs to learn that. And he makes, how can I say, sometimes he doesn't always make the smart pass. And some of that is going to be learning your teammates. Like when you're on a fast break and you're running, you never give the ball to Kyle O'Quinn at the top of the three-point line. Just don't give him the ball there. Don't give Kanter the ball there. Don't give those guys the ball anywhere where they may have to dribble a few times or whatever. You never do that. You may do that with Kristaps because he's adapted to doing that. But still, sometimes he makes passes and he's too close to the guy. And the guy can't do anything. There was a couple of turnovers that he didn't commit the turnover, but he made the pass that made it into a turn. Like he shouldn't have gave the ball to him at that time. And one other thing, and I'm not sure if this may be his style of play, but there was something that Rubio was doing, and I made a mental note of that. This is what Kristaps. This is what Ntilikina needs to do. You see how Rubio is giving up the ball, coming back to the ball, giving up the ball, he was literally had his hand in of the offense. Moving the ball, going in, coming back up, coming off he was continuously getting the ball in his hands and putting it in the right player's hands in the right position. And that's something, because I see some possessions with Frank on the court, and it ends in Courtney Lee trying to do a dribble move, and that's not Courtney Lee's strength. And as a point guard, you're going to start to learn other players' strength, but he has to know, like if you see Kyle O'Quinn at the top of the key and he has nobody, you got to come to the ball. And that's something that he's going to learn. That's an easy correctable thing. And also his teammates. When Ntilikina plays off the ball, they got to get him the ball back sometimes. They kind of treat him like a rookie. When he gives up the ball, sometimes he stands over by the 3-point line and never sees the ball again. So he has to either get aggressive or they're going to have to trust him a little more. It's a little bit of both, you know. So that was the only thing. It wasn't like, oh, Ntilikina sucks. Hell no. Like I said, he's a winning player. I'd rather have him scoring 7 points, playing tough defense down the stretch, than 15 points and being matador, literally letting people run by him. Remember, Derrick Rose averaged 18 points a game last year for the Knicks. Yes, he did. And the Knicks completely sucked. Because it doesn't matter if you can't stop people and people are hitting threes all the time because your point guard dies on a pick and roll. And by the way, I hate to say it, but my prediction is Derrick Rose won't be in the NBA next year. I think he's done. Because he's never learned how to adjust his game to become a real point guard. He still thinks he's a star. He still thinks he's a scorer. And I'll tell you, last year we had the wrong kind of vets on this team. We had a veteran in Derrick Rose who still thought he was a star. We had Carmelo, who still was the man, but wasn't a part of the team. This year, we have veterans who are role players, who understand their role and who are happy in their role. Yes, Courtney Lee's scoring more points because the opportunities are there. He's playing within the system. Kyle O'Quinn is playing within the system. And by the way, Kyle O'Quinn, the last couple of games, he hasn't really played well. He hasn't played too bad, but he hasn't played as well as he was early. And that's why I tell people it's an 82-game season. Don't worry. Willie's going to get his chance. Billy's going to get his chance. They still take Kent out in the fourth quarter. It looked like they're slowly trying to get Kristaps used to the center position, which I see what can happen if he's at the center position. I like it. Again, my biggest problem with him being at the center is banging and getting banged a lot and things like that. I mean, in the future, possibly. I still like him at the 4. I still like Kent at the 5. But I like the fact that the Knicks can have interchangeable parts where they can say, okay, Kristaps, you play 5. Lance Thomas played a 4, which he's a perfect 3-4 combination player. And then you can put Lee at the 3, Hardaway at the 2, or Lee at the 2, Hardaway at the 3, and Ntilikina at the 1. That's actually a very good defensive unit. And you have offense in that unit. Especially when Courtney Lee is scoring. When you have that unit on the floor and Courtney Lee is scoring, that's a very good unit. But again, I hear people saying, oh, it's time for Frank to start. This is not high school, folks. It doesn't matter if he starts. He's starting to get the bulk of the minutes. He's playing the important minutes in the game, and that's all that matters. Eventually, he will become the starter. We know that. He has his whole career to start, folks, plus 82 games this year. So I'm not worrying about Frank starting. He's playing the important minutes. He's out there when games are being won in the fourth quarter, which is essential to his development. So we need Jarrett Jack to keep a steady, calm hand at certain parts of the game. You don't need to switch it, because if you put, again, like I said before, if you put Ntilikina in the starting lineup and he starts to make mistakes or whatever, and then you take him out the starting lineup, you affect his confidence. You're better off letting him come off the bench, and if he's not playing well in a certain game, you can take him out, let him sit down, put him back in. You can coach him up that way. Once you put him in the starting lineup, you got to kind of do it differently. He still gets a lot of time with the starters in the fourth quarter. It's perfect. It's perfect. Leave well enough alone. At some point, it's going to be like this. Ntilikina will start when it's obvious. That's when he's going to start. You're going to have probably in the second half of the season. Another thing, too, the reason why you pace Ntilikina like you're doing, you heard what Clyde Frazier said. He's going to hit the rookie wall. And how do you protect against that is you monitor his minutes. In the second half of the season, he might be starting, but you don't give him so many minutes early. He's 19 years old. Chill. Chill. It's all right. You let Jarrett Jack, and what I like is that you keep Jarrett Jack fresh for when you need a veteran leader. You keep him fresh. And it's going to come a time where Jarrett Jack plays like the first 5 minutes to start the game and doesn't even come back in the game, or plays the first 5 minutes, then plays another 5 minutes in the second half to start the second half. And then it's going to be a time where he's only playing 10 minutes and Ntilikina is eating the rest up. By the way, what's going on with Ron Baker? Is he hurt or he's not hurt? He's inactive all the time. What's going on with him? Anyway, I'm just curious about that. I don't know, and nobody has talked about it, because the team is doing well. If the team wasn't doing well, everybody would be like, where's Ron Baker? We gave him this money and he's not playing. So anyway, I also want to say something about, I'm realizing something about AAU basketball. I always knew it. And players like Dennis Smith, players like Donovan Mitchell, players like Malik Monk. I like these players, but guess what they are? They have to learn how to be winning players. Guess what Ntilikina is already? A winning player. And what I mean by that is those guys at this point in their game only know how to affect the game by scoring. Dennis Smith knows how to affect the game by scoring, maybe assisting, but just by the offense. You don't understand. Everybody says it. The hardest thing for young players to learn is the NBA defense. We got a player who's one of the better defensive point guards now at 19. I told you, folks, he will be an elite defender for years to come. I'm talking about really elite. I'm talking about first team defense every single year. I think by the time he's in his third year, if he's healthy, he'll be first team defense, and you're not getting him off that. You're not going to remove him from first team defense. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes third team defense this season. Why? Because in his limited minutes, he's second in point guards and steals in 20 minutes a game. He's that good, folks. All right, Ntilikina can actually be a superstar defensive player. I don't think you understand what that is. That's what Kawhi Leonard was before he became really good on offense. And let me tell you why I always preach about defense and things like that, because you know what defense really does? It gives your offense more opportunities. It gives you chances to make mistakes on offense, but you still know you can rely on your defense. That happens in football. It's the same thing in football. In football, if you have a really good defense, you can overcome turnovers. You can overcome a lot. It gives your offense more chances. It actually helps you relax on offense when you know you got a defense to lean back on. That's very, very important. And this is why I keep saying the way the Knicks are playing is very sustainable. As long as they play defense for the entire season, as long as they keep playing defense, they keep locking in on defense, they're going to be a good team, folks. That's it. They're going to be good. There's no, they're going to start losing games. I'm going to tell you like this. When they stop playing defense and stop playing team offense and running their system is when you're going to see them lose, because they don't have. Now, some teams can win playing individual offense because their offensive players are so good. Perfect example is when Cleveland won a championship when they had Kyrie and they had LeBron. When you have two players that can go for 40 any given night and no one can stop them, you don't really need a system. That's what Oklahoma City did with Russell Westbrook and Durant. Literally, just here's the ball, dudes. You score 40, you score 35. Let's get them. You could do that when you have those great individual talents, but when you don't have that, you have to kill them with a million shots. In other words, you have to have guys scoring 9 and 10 and 11 points. You have to have like 4 guys in double figures, and all 4 guys only score 11. And then you got Kristaps scoring 22 or 23, and maybe you get 20 points from Hardaway, things like that. That's a team. Those contributions matter. And nobody should be alarmed with Kristaps scoring 22 points in this game. And the thing is, folks, the NBA is an adjustment league. Teams are adjusting to Kristaps. They're double teaming him more. They're respecting him. They're like, all right, dude, you really are good, so we're going to try to stop you. Now he's going to see what Melo saw every night, what great scorers see every night. And that's why we got Hardaway. And now you're seeing Hardaway play up to, see, people don't understand something. When I look at Hardaway, I see an athletic 6'6" guard with hops. He's really athletic. And I'm so happy to see him start to use every ounce of his ability. He can get down that court. I'm comfortable with him in the break. He's nasty going to the hoop. That's his game. He needs to stay in that area. Shoot the threes, no problem. Shoot the threes, but you got to keep going in the paint. And he's playing a smart game lately. He's playing a complete game. When he first came to the NBA, he was a chucker. I'm shooting from 3. I'm just shooting from everywhere. I'm nice. And I'm glad he went to Atlanta. It's almost like he grew up. He went to college in Atlanta. He went to basketball school. And it was, and the winning team said, no. You're not. He still has a little bit of chucker in him, but you're not going to come here and think you're going to just shoot. No, dude, you're going to play a complete game. And yesterday, he had 26 points. I think he had 6 rebounds and 5 assists. That is a complete game, folks. That's a winning player. Now, don't expect 26 points a game every night, but I expect that effort. Now, if he's scoring, see, and that's what you need. That's what Kristaps needs. That's what makes it hard for you to guard the Knicks if you got this guy going off and you got to worry about him and you still got Kristaps. Now they're becoming a team, a 1-2 punch on offense, as well as Cantor. When things go a little tight, you throw it down low to Cantor. They're becoming a team, and everybody's starting to understand their role, and that's the most important thing you can get from this team. And what happens is, as they play as a team and as they play wonderful-looking basketball, that attracts free agents eventually. Not this year, not this summer coming up. The Knicks don't have cap space, so kill a LeBron talk. The only way they can get LeBron, any way they can have any cap space for LeBron, is getting rid of Cantor. And they would have to get rid of Cantor by the trading deadline this year, and I would not fuck with this team right now. I would not fuck with it. I would not do anything, especially without a verbal guarantee, which you cannot get in the NBA. And I don't want no. I mean, look. Let me change I'm not going to say I don't want. Of course, who wouldn't want LeBron on the team? But I don't want to play this game. I like the team, how they're developing. But I do want to mention one young player to keep your eye on, and his name is Miles Bridges, and I think he fits perfectly with the Knicks. He's in Michigan State, and he's probably going to be around a top 20 pick. He's really top 5 talent, but there's a lot of talent at the top. If he somehow slips to the Knicks, he fits perfectly. He can play the 3 or the 4, and I can envision him and Kristaps. And oh my God, he literally fits exactly what the Knicks need. He's a small forward / power forward, and he can do it all. Hop, strong. He's good. He's actually he reminds me of a Draymond Green with more offense and less defense. Obviously, he's not as good as defensively as Draymond Green, but he's really good. So just keep an eye on that. Every now and then I throw a little prospect in there. I've been watching this guy from last year. I wanted the Knicks to draft him, but he went back to college, which I respect. He went back to college. So I'm glad he did that because we got to pick, and we probably going to pick somewhere in the middle, somewhere there like that, and he might be available. And there's another guy, I think his name is Kevin Knox. He's a 6'9", small forward. He's 6'9", 210 pounds, athletic freak. And those are the kind of players that the Knicks will be looking at. He's 6'9", he's slim, but he's still 6'9", and he jumps out the gym. And he can score. So keep an eye out for those two guys. I forgot what college Knox plays for. I have to look that up, but it just came to mind. I felt like talking about that. So, great win last night for the Knicks. And by the way, they are still running triangle principles for people who don't want to hear the triangle. They're still running a lot of those principles, just like every team in the NBA does. When you see Kristaps at the high post and the low post, and you see the two players at the corner 3 and by the top of the key, that's the triangle, folks. It's still the triangle. But the difference is you have an entire team buying into it, and it's a system that with a lot of parts that Hornacek put in there, because they're still shooting a lot of mid-range shots. They're not shooting a lot of three-point shots. They're shooting a lot of mid-range. They're one of the best shooting teams in the league, but they don't shoot enough threes. And the problem with that is if they play good defense, they're going to win a lot of games because they're going to make a lot of shots. But when teams get hot from 3, Knicks are going to lose games even when they shoot 60% because they're shooting too many 2s. And that has to be an adjustment. Just like in the fourth quarter, I like the adjustment they made as far as the three-point shooters on Utah is, again, if you run these guys out off the three-point line, a lot of these guys cannot do anything else besides shoot threes. They can't put the ball on the floor and make a dribble move or pass. Only a few that is what that is creating your own shot. And a lot of guys in the NBA can't create their own shot against NBA type defense. That's why and that's the way these teams groom these players. Just stand right there. Just stand right there and you're going to get the ball. And you see that standstill play all the time. So the Knicks need to continue to try to chase the three-pointers off the three-point line, force them to shoot long 2s, which is the worst shot in the league, force them to shoot those shots, and a lot of teams won't do well in there. The Knicks are a decent rebounding team. That's what they need to do. So it was a very good win. Knicks got another game coming. Obviously, they got a game Friday coming up. And this game was an important win for them because, first of all, it was a bounce back after a terrible loss. And losses like that against Cleveland, sometimes it's something you need sometimes. Getting smacked down by a championship contender is sometimes what you need. Not a blowout, but actually blowing the other team out and having them come back and slap you down is sometimes what you need. And the Knicks might have needed that because what happened against Utah, it probably gave them confidence that, you know what, it's 48 minutes. This game ain't over. And it's so funny. 2 times now, I saw 2 rookies, Malik Monk, come in and score all them points in the first half, get shut down in the second half. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. Hit all them shots first half, second half got shut down. So, look, I'm happy with the team. I'm happy with Kristaps. I got to issue an apology to Tim Hardaway Jr. because my dude is balling, and I see the effort. Like I said, you can sustain effort. You can't sustain three-point shooting and shooting in general, but you can sustain effort. And what do you need on defense is effort. And as long as these players are playing for each other and playing team offense, team defense, this is going to be a fun season, folks. I won't get into where they're going to go. It doesn't matter. If they don't even make the playoffs, it doesn't even matter. As long as they're playing this way, they can continue playing this way into next season and the season after that. This is what I wanted to see. This is sustainable. Their defense can only, well, I won't say only, their defense can get better because this is a young team. But don't be surprised if this team is a 7th seed or a 6th seed come playoff time. Why? Because young players, young people, they have that irrational confidence going on. You know, look at the Yankees. That team was supposed to be rebuilding, and them young players was like, shit, we can win it all. That's the thing you need with youth. Irrational confidence, the hope, the faith. You know, sometimes vets, sometimes you're never gonna win. You know, people get old, they be like, you know, they all disgruntled and cynical and shit. That's what I like about young players. And you never know what can happen. This is a fun ride. Enjoy every single victory, because the L's will come. So enjoy the victories. Anyway, this brings us to the end of this podcast. This has been Knicks Home Court, episode number 70. I might do one tomorrow morning. I'm not really sure, but stay tuned for that. It's been real, and enjoy the ride, folks. Again, don't get caught up in petty, stupid arguments about the past and the future and all this other shit. Just enjoy each victory, and because I see something developing that's special. Like I said, I was there when I was a Knicks fan. I remember when Ewing got drafted. Ewing got hurt his first season. The Knicks struggled. They still sucked. Matter of fact, the Knicks drafted Ewing and Bernard King wasn't on the team no more. And the Knicks sucked. And then they got Pat Riley. No, I'm sorry. Before Pat Riley, they had Rick Pitino. And they became a playoff team. And then Jordan came along. You know, but I saw the rise of the team. I saw them start to develop a personality. And that was really important. Anyway, this brings us to the end of the Knicks Home Court, episode number 70. I'll speak to y'all later. Peace.